He's been their father, their boss, and now their commander-in-chief. So if anyone can shed light on the inner workings of President Trump, it's Eric and Donald Jr. Now at the helm of the Trump brand, planning a major expansion of their hotels into what they see as Trump territory. They spoke with ABC's Tom Llamas about their father's latest troubles in Washington.
Arriving in style, a page right out of his father's playbook.
I would say this entrance looks familiar. Good to see you. Good to see you too.
Eric Trump taking me for a spin around Trump National Golf Club just outside of D.C.
It's a different world now. What's it like doing all this without your dad?
His brother Don giving me a tour of what's next for the family empire.
It's different because he was such a great sounding board. So not having that to go to is definitely something you miss.
Now, as the president navigates a busy week in Washington, the first son's sitting down with ABC News, talking family, controversy, and the Trump brand without the top Trump.
This week is going to be a very big week for your father. Former FBI Director James Comey is going to testify on Capitol Hill. Are you going to watch?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. It's the greatest hoax of all time. I was there throughout the campaign. We have no dealings in Russia. We have no projects in Russia. We have nothing to do with Russia.
I mean, to me, it's without a question, reads and smells like a witch hunt.
The day before President Trump fired FBI Director James Comey, Don and Eric met with FBI agents in New York to discuss what sources told ABC News was an attempted cyber attack on the Trump organization.
Obviously, as a company in America, we're susceptible, like so many others, to potential cyber attacks, and so that was the extent of what I can actually talk about.
Did you ever discuss with your father that you had met with the FBI?
No, we did not.
Let me ask you a question. Was the Russia investigation ever discussed?
No, it was a totally separate topic.
But the next day after that meeting, your father fires James Comey as head of the FBI.
Yeah.
Did you discuss that initial meeting with your father?
No, it had nothing to do with the subject.
Did you ever discuss with your father meeting with these FBI agents?
I did not.
Have you been asked to testify before Congress or to turn over any documentation from the campaign?
I have not.
Do you think your brother-in-law, Jared Kushner, made any mistakes by talking with Russian businessmen, with the ambassador of Russia after the election?
I don't think he did. I think that would be probably pretty common for any administration to have conversations, but I don't know the extent of any of those conversations, so I can't really comment in detail.
You know, a lot of people have talked about how your father's doing things differently in Washington, D.C. He's doing it his way. Some people have wondered, though, if he's too cozy with the Russians. He brought in the foreign minister, the ambassador, into the Oval Office. He's not really quick to criticize Vladimir Putin. Do you understand why some people may be suspicious about that?
He made it very clear early on, and even during the campaign, which is, hey, if we can have a good relationship with perhaps the second largest superpower in the world, why not? Now, maybe we can't, but to not try and just to make them the enemy seems very foolish to me.
Just yesterday, a federal contractor was arrested and charged with leaking top-secret NSA intelligence about alleged Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election to the news outlet The Intercept. Her attorney saying she's a good person with no criminal history who is caught in a political whirlwind. This, the latest in a series of leaking scandals that have plagued the White House. Trump's sons questioning the loyalty among their father's team.
Are you satisfied with the team he has around him right now?
I am, but the immediate team. But I do think there's plenty in D.C. There's probably plenty still in the White House. There's plenty of holdovers, that aren't necessarily working in his best interest.
Do you think there's people that are actively working against him?
Oh, I think without question.
But a few friendly faces from home, a constant in the West Wing.
What do you think about Jared and Ivanka in Washington? Do you think they're enjoying their time there? Do you think they regret going there?
I think they're doing what needs to be done, just like my father did.
Do you ever wish that he would have tapped you to go to the White House? Do you ever think about that?
No, I think, I think in terms of personality, I think Ivanka's probably the right person to be there.
With President Donald Trump in the Oval, it's the sons who are now in charge of the family business. Eric showing me around one of their properties just 2 weeks ago.
You and your brother were so involved in the campaign. Do you miss that? Because, I mean, that was your life, essentially, for 2 years.
I think I'll always fight together with family. Do I miss politics? Not really.
But lessons from the campaign trail helping forge a new business path for the company. Budget-friendly hotels built in Trump country, called American Idea.
Trust me, between Eric, myself, We stayed in every one of these hotels in every little market in the country, and we just saw there was a void missing.
Critics may say American idea. Are you trying to make money off the politics?
It has nothing to do with politics. I mean, we're trying to make money off of a hotel brand that we feel there's an underserved market to. You know, more companies could probably do better by being a little bit more patriotic.
As for their father and his role in the company,
they're not going to discuss it with me.
Eric says they do discuss bottom-line issues about the company with the president, including profit reports.
We don't talk about the activities of the business. We don't talk about what we're doing in the business. We just don't mix the separation.
But by showing them profit reports, that doesn't blur the lines?
Doesn't blur the lines. You're allowed to show that. And remember, the President of the United States has zero conflicts of interest. Zero.
Despite that, alleged ties to foreign governments continue to dog the Trump family. Just this week, reports that a Trump property received $270,000 from Saudi Arabia. The Trump Organization telling ABC News, quote, "We intend to donate the profits of this transaction at the end of the calendar year." And the brothers clear that the company will not expand overseas while their father is in the White House.
What was the international interest like after the election?
We canceled more deals than you can possibly imagine when we said, you know what, he's won this thing. We can't do this. It's not going to look right. You know,
We're talking tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions. What are we talking?
Hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars worth of deals that we canceled.
It's at courses much like this where the Trumps host charity events. But a day after we sat down with the brothers, Forbes magazine reports hundreds of thousands of dollars in charity expenses went to the Trump family business, despite Eric saying many of the costs would be covered by the Trumps. Eric Trump responding to Sean Hannity tonight.
I've raised $16.3 million for the greatest hospital in the world, that's St. Jude, and I get attacked for it.
Tonight, a spokesman for Eric Trump saying, contrary to recent reports, at no time did the Trump Organization profit in any way from the foundation or any of its activities.
Eric and Donald Trump Jr.
Although they're both private citizens, the brothers can't hide from the spotlight.
The only people making decisions regarding the Trump Organization are Eric and myself.
Dad.
No.
What's it been like watching yourself on Saturday Night Live?
You know, listen, it's sort of funny.
Something that wasn't funny was what happened to your father with Kathy Griffin.
Naturally, I was pretty disgusted.
I want to read you what she said. She said, a sitting president of the United States and his grown children and the First Lady are
personally trying to ruin my life forever.
Everyone who's watching right now saw what happened. They saw my father's response. They saw the First Lady's response about her son and how it affected him. They saw my response. I don't think we've ever been so measured, perhaps on a relative basis, but then to run and claim victimhood.
I'm gonna get arrested today.
And she deserves everything that's coming to her.
After his work on the campaign and that rousing RNC speech,
We'll have made America great again. We've been doing it for a long time, right?
I have to wonder if Don is eyeing a run himself.
I think eventually, if it was ever something, it'd probably be more, some sort of governorship role. I don't want to ever shut anything out, but right now I'm really focused on what I'm doing here.
We wrap up and it's back to business, but not before that picture-perfect ending only a Trump could expect.
I may not be old enough to vote, but I'm a big fan of President Trump.
Thank you.
You hear that? You hear that? I love this one.
For Nightline, I'm Tom Yamas in New York.
Our thanks to Tom. And on Thursday, of course, ABC News will carry former FBI Director James Comey's testimony live with a special report beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern.